Hi Christine, so I've looked over your lesson plan and here's my feedback. I think that there are a few components missing in the alignment of this lesson plan. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I see that you've already talked about identifying and clarifying a problem. So then we're going to look at planning and conducting an investigation. All right, very good. Here, the standard you chose says develop a claim and counterclaims fairly, supplying evidence for each while pointing out strengths and limitations of both. I don't know that you do all of that inside of this lesson plan. As a matter of fact, I looked twice and I really didn't see a conversation about the difference between develop and state, and I didn't see a conversation about how to build in and address counterclaims. So let's go through it piece by piece, okay? So, all right. Again, yesterday you talked about clarifying, identifying and clarifying a problem, and so then you set them up with this activity, right? Pass out matching shirts and go, how would you feel if everyone had the same, school uniforms, okay? All right. Then you have explained to the students that the topic of the argument we're going to do this together is whether or not uniforms should be mandated. Do you have any friends who might have opinions on this? And then break them into groups, okay? For some students to be pro-uniform and others con-uniform. Okay. You say, show students examples of why uniforms could be good. Okay, so you show them a piece of research right here. Show students that they need to conduct research for their side of the claim and provide research evidence and citations. Sorry, I don't know why I'm tripping so much. Okay, there's a couple things we've got to do right here. All right. First, you tell them they only need to research for their side of the claim, and yet you're requiring them to address counterclaims. So you have to be careful with these directions right here. Otherwise, what kids are prone to do is to spout an opinion and then go find some research that backs their opinion and disregard everything, in which case they're only searching, not researching, okay? Second, you note down below that you tell them they have to use, make sure that you're only using credible information, sites, things like that. So you're going to need to address that piece up here, right? Here are credible places to look. Here are not credible places to look. You're going to need to gather arguments for both sides of the claim. Okay, so these instructions here are just not well aligned and they're not fitting the entire standard or evidence outcome. Okay, all right. Of course, you have them provide their own thoughts on the claims. Okay, give them, pardon me, give them time for the research. Have them do some interviews. Okay. Again, it's important that you tell them specifically that they're going to have to write about both claims and counterclaims, so they better gather research for both sides. All right. Now you have discussed with the students what part of the research they found the most interesting. Here, this piece right here, oops, sorry, I don't know why. This piece right here, you have to address that much earlier. Okay. Then you have small groups work together to produce a list of ideas or researched evidence that they think supports their claim most, but they also have to address counterclaims, okay? You're going to have to do that kind of throughout the whole thing, okay? You have them share out their ideas and then give, and gather them all up, okay? Which, truthfully, I don't know how you would do that inside of one class period. You would need a class period in between to do some photocopying and stuff, okay? Then you have the students write a short paper at home that describes both sides of the argument, and then in the last paragraph have the students give their personal opinion of the topic. Now, I'm not quite sure what the goal is in having them describe both sides of the argument. First of all, they have to have been researching and looking for it all along. Second of all, describe both sides and then give their opinion. Is there another piece to this lesson plan where they would then develop a claim out of the research and their opinion in order to start writing an argumentative essay? And then if that was the next piece to this, I would need to know about that, because up here, your evidence outcome says that they will be able to provide a claim and a counterclaim, but instead they're just summarizing data they gather and providing an opinion. And two, the evidence outcome here is develop a claim and counterclaim fully. And you didn't really address any refutation tactics with them. So I guess I got pretty confused in this lesson plan. And if there was an additional piece to the lesson plan, I would need to see it. Otherwise, what I'm seeing in here is an activity. You know, that you are having them do some, you gave them a topic, they're doing some internet research, they're going to interview people, they're summarizing and they're spouting an opinion. There's no direct instruction in there. There's no teaching in there, right? There's got to be some point where you talk to them about structure and organization, where you talk to them about refutation and counterclaim strategies, where you talk about ethos, pathos, logos, where you talk about Toolman or classical or something. Otherwise, all you're doing is directing them through this activity, okay? So make those changes in here and get the direct instruction in too.